This is the plaintiff, Frances Daytree. She says the defendant's vicious and uncontrolled dog got loose, attacked her 2 dogs, and in the process of splitting them up, she injured her back. The defendant's a very careless person who must pay for his mistakes, and she's here seeking $5,000 for her dog's vet bills and her own injuries. This is the defendant, Anthony Ferranti. He says his dog was on a leash, but slipped out of his hand and ran towards the plaintiff's dogs. His dog sniffed at one of them, but the plaintiff's other dog attacked his dog and bit him, so he retaliated. His dog's perfectly fine with other dogs. It was the plaintiff's dog who attacked first, and his dog was only defending himself. He's accused of not paying up.
All parties, please use your right hand. You see it? Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you. Douglas, Frances Daytree, you are suing Anthony Ferranti for $5,000 in vet bills and pain and suffering as a result of his dog attacking your dog, correct?
2 dogs.
Tell me what happened. Dogs.
Yes.
What happened?
I was walking my dogs back to the house on my block. He was across the street. I was already up a little further. All of a sudden, his dog comes running. And
Were your dogs on a leash?
Both dogs were on a leash.
Was his dog on a leash?
Yes.
But not a human at the end of the leash?
Right.
Okay.
So, and then his dog started attacking one of the dogs.
What kind of dog?
American Bull Rottweiler.
And his dog attacked one dog. I was screaming. And then all of a sudden, his dog went on to the other dog. And then he came, he pulled his dog off. And I noticed the little one did have some wound on the back. The bigger dog seemed to be all right. So I went home, I took the little one to the vet right away. And they had to put 2 drains in because she showed me the x-ray. And the x-ray, there's like a pocket, she says. And if that fills up with fluid, it's going to get infected. So that's why they had to put the drains, 1 on each side. They had it clean, stitched, and all. So you had to put under anesthesia. So I had to go home, leave him there. Went to, the vet wanted to know if
What had he said when he came and got his dog?
No, he apologized. He said, I'm sorry, And
did he say he got away from it? What did he say?
He says, I had the leash, and the dog pulled and got away from me.
Okay.
So,
did he say, I'll pay for the vet bills?
Well, that night, he said, he can give me at least $700. He said he was unemployed, and then, when things start picking up, I can give you monthly payments.
Okay.
I said, okay. The next day, my other dog was limping and a little swollen on his shoulder. So when I picked the hair up, I saw a little tiny puncture wound. So now I brought that dog to the vet. And it was a bite wound, the vet said, and it was pus and all. So she had to lance it a little, clean it, put it on antibiotics. So I called him, told him about Harley, and he says,
Did you ever get a check from him?
I did.
May I see the check? You didn't cash a check because the check had a restriction on the memo.
When he came to my house, he gave me the check like this.
Okay.
He said, Fran, can you cash it tomorrow, the next day? I said, no problem.
Okay, can I see the check?
So I didn't open the check.
Right.
Because that day
And then when you opened the check, what'd you see?
On the memo part, he has veterinarian, only payment to be made.
There will not be other payment. Okay, that doesn't sound like $700 now and payments later.
If I sign that check, does that mean I'm only accepting the $700?
What's going on, Mr. Ferranti? What happened that day?
I was walking out of my house. I had the dog backwards on my hand. I went to go close the door.
What is backwards on your hand?
Well, the leash was this way instead of this way. In other words, I wasn't holding the dog this way. I was holding the dog with the leash coming out of the back of my hand.
Okay.
I went to go close my door, and apparently she was across the street. My dog spotted them and ran across the street, started to sniff the larger dog, and then her Boston Terrier started to nip at my dog. And then my dog turned and attacked her dog.
Do you have the vet bills? Has your dog ever gotten away from you before?
No, dear, no. And
How long have you had the dog?
Oh, 9 years out of the dog, since a puppy.
Your Honor, there's 3 vet bills because Harley, like 4 days
I
later.
got it. Can you hand the vet bills over?
Had to
what
go
were
back
you about
to
to
the
try
vet.
to hand me?
When you say Rottweiler, I would like to show you a picture
No,
of the dog.
you said Rottweiler. I don't know what your dog is.
Well, you made a face and people
No,
behind
what
you-
happened is the audience gasped.
Okay, all right, okay.
That's really what
All right.
made you
I
feel
just-
bad. But,
I just want to show you what my dog looks like, and
oh, she's so cute.
it's not
But
like
what is it? It's an
American Bull Rottweiler.
American Bull Now, listen, y'all got me wrong. Just because
Well, when you say
we all
Rottweiler-
cringe
Grass,
when we
gas.
hear the words pit bull or Rottweiler, I think a little less, but still. It doesn't mean anybody's blaming the dog. What the law does is the law never looks at what do the dogs do. Nipping your dog is a perfectly rational response to having a dog come at you and your buddy. But it doesn't matter because we don't expect rationalism from dogs. See, dogs do what dogs do. They're animals. So what we expect is that the owners are going to be careful, that they're going to mend their fences, that they're going to keep their dogs on leashes, and that they're going to have a good grasp on the leash. So when that happens, or when it fails to happen, then there's consequences. And the consequences are pretty bad financially for her. So why should she eat it? And why would you hand her a check when you had said to her that you would do payments, and then tiny down here, there will be no more payments?
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So, if you're holding your dog and the dog gets just away from you, but you're trying and you're holding it, have you violated the leash law?
Yeah, you have.
How? Why?
Because it's your responsibility. It's your dog, and you should be able to keep control of it.
Fair enough, but I did have the dog on a leash and I was holding it. The dog just got away from me.
How well were you holding the dog?
I guess not well enough, huh?
Lose your hand. It's on you.
Interesting. What do you say?
Well, yeah, same thing. If it's your responsibility, you got to check the lead, the harness, and whatnot. So,
I looked at you and I thought you were probably going to be from Philly or something.
No, we've come a long way.
That really surprised me going inside the courtroom.
Well, I didn't want to hand it the check and then end up in court at the same time. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
But
that was going to happen because
had
you yes or no? Had you told
sure.
her I'll give you $700 now and make payments?
Yes, I did. I told
All
her.
right. So then, this is kind of sleazy. What were you hoping the poor lady would cash it and then you'd have I have a defense?
No, not at all. I just didn't know where it was going to go.
Yeah, but you were trying to get it to go a certain place that is not what you had said. And that's kind of sleazy, frankly. Wow. All right, now what is this? You're suing for the dog's injuries, but you're also suing for injuries to you?
Yes.
Pain and suffering, or your dog's pain and suffering? What
No,
are you
me.
doing? Your pain and suffering. How so?
I've had back and neck problems.
Before
And
this?
Before this. 2015 was the last time I saw my pain management, because that's how good I was doing. Between the trauma, the 2 dogs, the little one especially, I had to pick up, bring outside and all. So
When did you have to pick up and bring?
after the surgery and all, because
Why did you have to pick up? If you have a bad
Because
back, what's he do? Who's that guy?
Who's
that fellow?
My brother who doesn't, nobody lives with me now.
Okay, all
I'm
right.
all by myself.
All right.
So it was, so now, because of the trauma, picking up these dogs.
I know, but don't pick up the dogs if you have a bad back. You could figure out a contraption where you can wheel a little wagon.
Well,
there's other things we could do.
I had to bring them down the steps outside. The bigger one, had to go in and out also.
How are you going to prove that you are damaged to the extent of $1,980?
I had to go back to the pain management.
Right, but you might have had to anyway. Did pain management give you something saying that you have a different pain now, or that this is caused by the right? That's what you would need to have in order to be able to collect an additional $2,000 from him, is some proof that the dog affair caused this. And frankly, it would only be the dog affair insofar as the pushing, pulling. It would never be that you chose to carry a dog down the steps, which you shouldn't be doing. That's just the way it is. So, but I am going to find the defendant liable for the $3,019.66 in vet bills. Verdict for the plaintiff.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So the plaintiff does prevail, but not to the full $5,000 she was seeking. You know, it's a shame, Mr. Ferrari, your dog gets away from you. It costs you $3,000.
A bad, unfortunate incident, but I'm glad it's over.
Yeah, no question. But, you know, the judge said you came off kind of sleazy by what you put on the check. How do you respond to that?
I don't think so. I was just protecting myself.
No. It was sleaze. You know,
well, okay.
According to the judge.
If you want to think that,
no,
you
the
can.
judge said.
Well, if she wants to think it also, she can too.
Well, I think everybody would think that when you said you'd give her payments after the $700, but right down there on the check, that's all you're going to give her.
But I also turned around verbally and told her I'd help her out as much as I can.
Well, okay. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hope you've learned to hold on to your dog better.
Absolutely.
Good enough. Okay. Now here comes Ms. Daytree, the plaintiff. You were seeking $5,000. You got $3,017, I think. Yeah. You okay with that?
I'm happy.
How's your dog? How are they doing now?
They're doing good.
They're doing better.
Doing good.
Okay.
They're
okay.
Yes.
And how are you doing?
I'll hang in there.
Is that, I don't know what you mean by making a circle with your hand.
But,
you doing better?
Listen, I'll
very
continue
good.
with the pain management, and I'll move on.
Good luck.
Thank
you so very much. Harvey, you got to hold on to your dog, right?
So, Doug, the leash law means control. And it's not just having a leash on the dog, it's having control in your hand so the dog doesn't get away.